Selling your home is one of the biggest financial transactions you will ever make. While it can be exciting to get an offer, sellers in Lancaster constantly make mistakes by agreeing to terms that hurt them in the long run. To avoid the pitfalls, here are the 20 worst things you could agree to when selling your home in a quick-fire fashion. Number 1 is accepting the first offer without reviewing any others. Jumping at the first offer may leave money on the table, especially in Lancaster's competitive housing market where we often get multiple offers on a property. Number 2 is agreeing to an unrealistic closing timeline. Buyers may push for a 2 to 3 close, but if you can't move out or line up your next purchase, you can create additional stress and possibly extra costs if you are unable to move. Number 3 is covering all closing costs. It's common to split the cost, but don't agree to pay for everything unless it makes financial sense. Obviously, if your property needs a little bit more work, maybe you are going to have to give some concessions when it comes to seller help. Number 4 is excessive repair requests. Small fixes are normal, but paying for unnecessary upgrades is going to drain your profits. Just because they have a home inspection that says there are a couple of things wrong with it doesn't mean you have to cave, because a buyer is interested in getting your home, and guess what? There aren't that many good ones on the market right now. Number 5 is allowing unlimited buyer walkthroughs. A final walkthrough is expected, and potentially if you have a home inspection, you may get another one as well. But multiple visits can be disruptive and often leads to nitpicking, which means the buyer may just be looking for a way to get out of the contract. Number 6 is accepting a low appraisal without a challenge. Don't just agree to lower your price. Sometimes appraisals can be contested or reviews, so don't just agree to lower your price because the appraisal says so. Often if we have multiple offers, we try and negotiate getting something called an appraisal gap into the contract anyway. So even if it does come slightly under, the buyer's going to have to bring additional cash at closing in order to actually purchase the home. If, however, there is an appraisal gap, sometimes you can provide additional comps, which means other homes that have sold of a similar value and similar style to yours. This can often get your appraisal value boosted to match what your sale price is. Number 7, if you are doing seller financing, make sure you have the full legal protections. Get yourself an attorney to structure a carefully made contract, else you're going to end up with huge ramifications and potentially squatters in your property if they don't pay you your money. Number 8 is overly generous seller credits. Credits for repairs, closing costs, and appliances can add up fast and cut into your bottom line, especially if you're paying top dollar for an agent. Sometimes you may find you only end up netting about 90% of your actual sales price. Number 9 is agreeing to kick out clauses that you don't understand. Now, rarer in our area, but buyers sometimes are able to walk away if they find another home, leaving you back at square one. Make sure you get yourself a strong deposit, preferably non-refundable, as that's going to make it harder for them just to walk away. Number 10 is ignoring your net sheet. So focusing only on the offer price is not the true net price. Sometimes the buyer might be willing to make up more agent commissions or actually pay both sides of the transfer tax. This means that actually a lower offer sometimes can net you a higher amount. Number 11 is leaving possessions or furniture without an agreement. Yes, just because you love your furniture, guess what? Buyers may not want to have your old bed, so do not assume that you can just leave your furniture there and they'll be grateful for it. It can actually end up costing you thousands of dollars if you refuse to remove it, and the buyer has to pay to do it themselves. Number 12 is overly broad inspection contingencies. So agreeing to vague wording like seller to repair all issues can cost you thousands. Typically, if you're getting a home inspection, try to limit any single repair to around $2,000 to $3,000. This way, the buyer is going to have to pay for anything that is small, and you will only be on the hook if there happens to be major issues with the property. Number 13 is allowing a rent back without strong terms. Sometimes if a buyer lets you stay post-closing or vice versa, unclear terms can create financial and legal risks. We typically will hold money in an escrow account. Therefore, if any damage is done by the buyer prior to closing, or you, the seller, prior to closing, that money can then be done to reimburse for repairs and damages. Number 14 is accepting offers from unqualified buyers. If you're super excited about getting an offer, if they do not have a proper pre-approval, a deal can actually collapse in weeks. So sometimes you have a pre-qualification, it all looks good. However, they haven't been thoroughly screened by the mortgage company and the deal ends up falling apart. Number 15 is not protecting against home sale contingencies. So if their home doesn't sell, you're left waiting and waiting and waiting, sometimes for months. What you can do is you can put something called a kick-out clause, where if their property hasn't sold within 30 days, 45 days, for example, you can actually kick them out and start remarketing the property. Sometimes you may also be able to market the property anyway until their home is under contract. Ultimately, it comes down to what you and your agent negotiate. Number 16, typically it is the buyer's choice, but letting the buyer dictate the settlement company or attorney, you want to make sure that even though they get to pick their own title company, that it is a reputable one and it's going to work within your best interests as well. 17 is agreeing to pay for items buyers can normally finance. For example, kitchen appliances, buyers can usually roll these into their mortgage. 18 is ignoring as is fine print. As is doesn't always mean that you're free of responsibility, so make sure you read the details carefully. 19, no escrow holdback protections. If something isn't finished, like for example the repairs haven't been done, an escrow ensures both sides are protected. The worst thing you want is a buyer to close on a property, realize that you made a mistake about something or maybe haven't got something fixed, and then you end up getting sued for a much larger number than it would have just cost to get the property fixed in the first place. And number 20 is skipping a realtor review of the terms. And worst of all is signing without expert advice. A Lancaster PA real estate agent or attorney can save you from agreeing to any of the issues that we've spoken about above. The contracts are quite long, and if you just make one small mistake, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Final thoughts are, when selling your home in Lancaster, the wrong terms can cost you thousands or even $10,000s of dollars. It may even potentially sink the deal altogether. Make sure you work with a local agent like myself who can help protect you and negotiate smartly through the entire process. If you found this video useful and you're looking to sell your home at Lancaster, book a free discovery call using the link below, and also subscribe to my blog to find more information on how to get the most money when selling your home.